What I'm about to show you represents a step forward in the robot vacuum industry when it comes to value and features. My name is Jamie Andrews, and this is the latest from eufy, the X10 Pro OMNI. It's a full-featured D-shaped robot vacuum and mop that has all of the important features of robots, double its price tag. The included multifunction dock empties, washes, dries, and refills the robot. In this video, I will give you a complete tour of the X10 Pro OMNI, put it through my endurance test, list out several pros and cons, and finish with my final conclusion. Up front, we have an object avoidance system referred to as AIC, and it consists of a single RGB camera, two structured light sensors, and a bright LED light for dark rooms. Around back, we see the MopMaster branding, a single hole for the dock to fill the small onboard water tank, and the charging contacts. Up top, we have a typical home, power, and spot cleaning button with a child lock feature. The LiDAR cover does include a bump sensor for protection. Under the lid, we have a Wi-Fi indicator light and reset button, along with a QR code to download the eufy Clean app. eufy does not list the size of the internal dustbin, but it is on the smaller side of average and has one lid to access the paper washable filter and another lid just beneath to access the inside of the dustbin. Flipping the robot over, we see a set of 6 cliff sensors, a single side spinning brush, and a dedicated carpet detection sensor. The X10 Pro has the same hair detanglement feature that I reviewed on the X8 Pro, which consists of this sawtooth looking blade that claims to scrape the hair off the roller brush and deposit it in the dustbin. The roller brush is a combo of rubber and bristles, and for some reason only one end of the brush roller has a detachable end. On the back, we see the MopMaster system, which includes 2 pentagon-shaped mopping plates with impressively thick mopping pads that feel extra premium. The mopping pads are able to lift 12 millimeters to clear low and medium pile carpet. Moving on to the dock, where we see the dual ports for dirt extraction, and I'm pleased to see that eufy supplied us with a one-piece, easy-to-clean dock tray, which is used to assist in the cleaning of the mopping pads. In the back, we see the dirty water pickup hose, a set of charging contacts, the clean water fill port for the robot, and the vents at the bottom for hot air drying system that dry the mopping pads after they've been washed. As far as the water tanks, eufy does not specify a size for the clean or dirty water tanks, which are designed to maximize space on the dock. They both look similar and appear to be around 2.5 liters in size if I had to guess. That would match the size of the 2.5 liter dust bag in the dock, which is also very nicely lined, although a bit smaller than I hoped for. Now for the test, starting with the vacuum test on carpet, where I scatter 54 grams of colored rice on medium pile carpet and send the X10 Pro out in max vacuum mode to unleash all 8,000 pascals of suction. While the X10 has a very powerful vacuum motor on board, it only managed to pick up 47 grams or 87%, which is just below the testing average. On tile floor, I scattered 130 grams of premium cat litter and sent the X10 out in max plus vacuum mode with one single pass. With this test, it scored below average again, only picking up 113 grams or 86%. As far as sound test, I found that from about 5 feet away, the vacuum produced 64 decibels in standard mode, and that increased to 70 decibels when switching to max mode. Okay, let's switch gears and find out how the MopMaster system performs. I place exactly 4 milliliters of hot sauce on my tile floor, and then I use a heat gun to slowly bake it on. The X10 was sent out in deep mopping mode, which uses a tighter S-shaped pattern to mop the floor. The robot was set to the highest water output level without the use of any detergent. I always give the robots 2 passes to mop up as much as possible, and the X10 was able to remove around 90% of the stain, which is above average result. And now is a good time to test the effectiveness of that self-cleaning Omni station, which ended up being quite impressive after just a single cleaning on the dock. How about that hot air drying system though? Well, after the pads were washed and after just 2 hours of drying on the dock, the pads were in fact 100% dry. Not only that, but so was the dock tray. Next, I tested the auto empty feature where I started with a completely full dustbin and ran the auto empty cycle once with the robot on the dock. I found the dock was able to remove all the contents of the dustbin successfully. While the dock is emptying the contents, it pulls around 10.6 amps of power and just under 1,000 watts. The sound it produces while emptying is around 77 decibels, which is average. The eufy X10 Pro is equipped with an advanced object avoidance system that is normally found on more expensive robot vacuums, and eufy claims it can identify over 100 objects. In this object avoidance test, I used common household items that you might want your robot to avoid, and thankfully with the X10 Pro, you won't have much picking up to do, as it snagged a perfect test result, which is very rare, especially at this price point. One thing to note is that you can view the objects that it avoided in the app. You can even tell it to go back and clean that area if it misidentified the object, or if it was moved by you, which is something that I have not seen before. After testing the X10 in my home for several weeks, I've come up with a list of pros and cons, so let's get started with the cons. The biggest con to me is with the brush roller, which I was not fond of in the X8 Pro, and I'm still not a fan of it. Because it has bristles, it attracts a bunch of hair quickly after just one run. eufy has a hair detanglement system designed to help with this, which you can see working here in my robot when I remove the dustbin. Don't try this with yours. The problem is that it's not very effective, meaning you'll still need to use a tool to remove the hair by hand. In my testing, I manually ran the hair detanglement job, which runs at the end of an auto empty session, and I found that it only removed a few hairs from the roller brush. eufy is marketing this machine to pet owners, and I'm not sure this is what they will want to deal with, along with a rather smallish 2.5 liter dust bag in the dock. The next con is with the less than stellar vacuum performance in my testing. For 8,000 pascals, I really had higher hopes, and almost wonder if the brush roller somehow is to blame. The mopping performance was much better, though at times I discovered the pads were a bit too quick to dry up, and found that it needed to really go back to the dock more often than the minimum setting of 15 minutes, even with the water level set to high in the app. The last con is related to navigation, which has some quirks likely from being a new robot. First, I found it had a tendency to just flat out miss some areas, mostly when turning or going around corners for some reason. Other times it would just perform weird acts like having trouble lining up with the dock when returning, or not wanting to leave this rug to cross onto the floor, although I only saw this happen once. It could also be a bit more gentle when approaching objects, as I found it ramming itself into places that it should not be in, even though it was always able to eventually escape each situation. Luckily, eufy can fix navigation issues with an over-the-air software update. Oh, I almost forgot the dustbin latch, which is way too thin and flimsy for a dustbin latch designed to have an airtight seal. Moving on to the pros for the X10, starting with my biggest pro, which is with the object avoidance system. For a robot at this price point, eufy did not hold back and completely shocked me with the ability to correctly identify and avoid objects in my home. From stray wires laying around my house to shoes, the X10 Pro did it more consistently than any robot I have tested at this price point. When I tested the corner reach ability of the D-shaped robot, I found it to be much better than compared to round robots. The D shape on the X10 is, in my opinion, just right, with the back being rounded enough not to slam into walls when it is turning. The D shape combined with the pentagon-shaped mopping pads also enables it to get closer to the baseboards. eufy gives you an option to enable edge hugging in the app, which will allow the X10 to get right up against your baseboards and furniture, and it's quite effective. I can't forget to mention the app, which is very well laid out and super easy to use. It mapped my home in no time flat, and even identified and automatically divided my rooms better than any app I have used to date. I especially appreciate the ability to turn on deep cleaning for both mopping and vacuuming in the app. Most robots only allow you to turn it on for mopping jobs. The OMNI dock is also very impressive. Aside from the smaller water tanks and dust bag, everything else is great, from the one-piece solid dock tray to the excellent mop cleaning and fast drying to the powerful auto empty system. I applaud eufy with the overall design, which cleverly maximizes the space in the dock. The last pro I will mention is that eufy allows you to set the robot to return to the dock for an auto empty after a single cleaning job or after every 15 minutes. The last option will help make up for the smaller internal dustbin, and for pet owners, it is the one I suggest using. In conclusion, the eufy X10 Pro OMNI gives you everything you want in a full-featured robot vacuum, aside from hot water mop washing, which I don't expect at this price point. That aside, I do wish eufy would switch to an all-rubber roller brush, which is now the industry standard, and figure out how to maximize that powerful 8,000 Pascal vacuum motor. Besides that, there is really nothing holding me back from saying this is one of the most impressive robots that I have tested for under $1,000. Links to your best price with discounts are in the description below. As I've said before, I'm a huge fan of eufy products, and the X10 is a shining example of why I am. They have just raised the bar for an affordable, full-featured robot vacuum and put the competition on notice, and they should take notice. Drop a comment down below if you would like to see the eufy X10 Pro compared to another robot vacuum. If you've not already subscribed, please consider doing so to support all the hard work that goes into testing, editing, and final production work for videos just like this one. I want to thank each of you for watching this video, and be sure to take it easy out there, folks. Bye-bye.